So even with astrology, it's a vast language. Words are probably the lowest forms of astrology. Color, pictures, images can say much more than a word can. But we're using our words to go through the mandala and look at the energy. So from Libra to Pisces, so from March 20th to September 23rd, you have the daylight is greater. The independent people, they're doing it their way. I did it my way, you know, like just that's I'm doing it. Well, if you're trying to be part of a team or trying to be part of a marriage and you're doing it your way, everybody's saying, well, Dad just does his own thing. He's not part of a team. We'll just do our thing. But it sets up polarities, and a lot of positive, negative experiences come out of it. When the nighttime is greater, there's a need to do things in context to others. You react to others, you respond to others, you feel good because someone feels good with you. You feel bad because someone feels bad with you, but you try and see what your behavior is. Your behavior patterns will be conditioned by the people you're around, by the teams you're in. Whether they're in good teams, around good behavior, around bad behavior, it's still going to have an important effect. So someone who's had bad personal experiences, they're more likely to feel hemmed in and judged and blocked by that because they had it in their past. And other people have acknowledged it. It's harder to trust that I'm okay when everyone said I'm not okay, or when I'm not. So the peer pressure becomes stronger when the nighttime is greater. But at the same time, the sense of teamwork and participating and working together in a group and having all of that magic and social, cultural interchange, that's stronger for the Libra, Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. Wanting to be the performer and be the noticed one, this is the Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo. But wanting to be part of and included in. Now we have all the signs in our chart. So that we have all of these factors in our life. Everyone does. They're just accentuated differently as they affect each planet. Each planet picks up certain attitudes or certain patterns with it. So we're looking at the moon, it's picked up the daylight increasing, nighttime increasing, the daylight is greater, nighttime is greater. But it's simple words, but they're very profound and they have long-term effects. So it's worth going over and over this and stopping it. And when you're doing the one category, check as you're doing the one category in your worksheet. Just have another note sheet or another worksheet and keep an eye on a few other people, and it won't be long before you say, oh, look at that. They really do post this late. Wow. And you, instead of, if you're saying, I know astrology, you're trying to tell someone that's something, but if you're trying to say, I'm studying it, it says this, is that true for you? You ask someone else, you'll get good feedback that just confirms all of this. If someone says, no, that can't be true, then you start asking questions or looking closer, and there might be some difficult aspects, some other thing trying to block that. But for you to be healthy and happy, you need to have the sign of the planet working properly. You need to get the best out of that sign and let that energy permeate the planet, the planetary function, or that level of consciousness. So it's not a right or wrong. It's a question of just, you're on one side of it. I mean, I got to do this myself. I mean, I can't do this unless someone helps me do it. Or we can do it as a team. Wow, there's a lot of team players that want to be in a relationship, want to work as a team, and they just see that. But if you have a team and you're trying to coach the individuals can be stars, but they're not going to work for the team. They figure the team is there for them. And the team is feeling, we got to work as a team, and the ones that are pulling away aren't really for us. So if you're in a group and you try and pull out because you have something independent to do, the group will almost always blame you. Why are you going? You should be with us. When by the time we try and leave our parents and get our own world, sometimes it works well, but a lot of times, how could you leave me? I've made this investment. How could you go somewhere else that I don't want? You can get that. So our social attitude, our team spirit comes from our parents and how we're part of their world. And our independence is how we manage to strive and get some of our personal experiences anyways, whether it's a run across the street, you know, a dash across the room, whatever. Okay. So now, then when you're doing, so I like to do each one separately and then bring them together, although it's easy to see them working together. When you have the 4 seasons, 3 signs in each season is measuring that daylight, like winter, daylight is increasing, but nighttime is greater. So what does that mean? Darkness is greater, so that the predominant responsibility, teamwork, the group is more responsible. In the winter, you need to work together to survive. It makes it a lot easier to solve if you're sharing the chores. It's much harder if you're on your own, you don't have a house, you're not working with other people. Boy, it becomes much harder to feed it, to eat everything. It's much more difficult in the winter anyway, so the teamwork really works. So there's a sense of responsibility. So that sense of responsibility is predominant for Capricorns, Aquarians, and Pisces. But each one has their own sense of, after I put up with all this, one day I'll get a little bit more independent. So a Capricorn, I'll be independent, but I'll be secure. I'll have my Freedom 55, but I'll have my pension, I'll have other things, I'll be established, I'm not going to be out of control. Whereas the Gemini says, who needs insurance? Why be secure? Let's see what we get. So some people ride the wave of independence more than the wave of responsibility, but this freedom and responsibility everyone has. So each season has this. So Capricorns are individuals. Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces are the individuals that are emerging in social situations, trying to be a little bit more independent, but in context to everyone else, not at the expense of. Okay, so when we get to the springtime, you have daylight is greater and daylight is increasing. It's already bright out. These people are already really blatantly independent. They're strongly independent, and they're trying to be more free and more independent. So the Aries, Taurus, and Gemini are the farthest away from team players. They can do things for a group, but they got to see what they're getting for it, that they're doing it, that they're free to do it. As soon as a group gets restrictive and has obligations and rules that are stifling, the Aries and the Taurus and Gemini won't fit in. So when your moon is there, your habits are going to pick up these factors. And just seeing that association, you almost have to know the person to fill in the gaps of the experience. That's why the worksheets. Once you've done it for yourself, you'll know it works, and then you'll be able to intuit or ask the right questions so someone gives you the information you need about how it's working, the specifics of how it's working. But someone with the Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, you can't encourage them to be more sensitive to other people, more responsive, do what you're supposed to. No, you have to just trust your independence, trust your courage, go try things, make some things happen. They can help other people, but go do it. Don't wait for other people to do it with you. So the Aries, it's on impulse. The Taurus will be wanting just more by what I want or what I feel I want. And the Gemini will, let's try everything. So when you see someone with that moon, boy, you'll see this attitude. It's unique. It stands out really clearly. You find all the people you know with the Capricorn, Aquarius, or Pisces moon, make a list of them. Or you get a list on a spreadsheet where you put 100 people's charts, so you get a group of people's charts that you know, or even famous people. When you do the sort on the moon and you see who's got the moon in the winter signs and who's got them even across the family, you'll see these differences really vitally clear, and you'll see who's doing them, I guess, better or worse, who's living up to the good of it or who's fighting it, and which is the fight. Sometimes it's a fight against being more free. Sometimes it's a fight about not fitting into what everyone else wants. Sometimes the reward is doing one's own thing. Sometimes the reward is doing things for others. So, okay, when you get to the summer, you have the nighttime is increasing, so responsibilities are starting to increase, but people are living, it's still very I, me. It's the summer, I'm doing my thing. But I'm trying to be more inclusive, more sensitive, more responsible. And the things I'm doing are going to have, I want a home, I want kids. They're going to involve more responsibilities increasing. So many people get the kid, then they find out slowly, oh boy, this is work. They have the postpartum depression because there's a lot of work. It's not just about having it. There's other commitments growing, but it's still my kid. So the summer signs are very self-centered, but they're trying to belong. They want to do things. They want to be noticed. They want other people to notice how good they are. How pay important to how my feelings are strong. Like I'm in Cancer, I always want people to pay attention to my feelings, but I'm sometimes over-centered in that, and I don't always pay attention to other people's feelings. Although I feel that I'm sensitive, but I might interrupt people. I might for the feeling I'm having in a moment. That's the strong. It's evolving other people, but that's the strongest port of the nighttime increasing. So summer has this tendency of being my own self, but wanting to involve other people. I want followers. I want people to notice me. Hey, look at me. That still needs a person. Hey, let me do this for you. You're still doing things. I'm doing it, but I'm doing it for you. So there's still a social element. Responsibility is building, teamwork building, but That's where you're going to. Who I am is this. You're not paying me enough for what I'm doing. You see it like that. So when you get the moon into the fall signs, the nighttime, the darkness increasing, and the darkness is greater. So the teamwork and being part of a team and working towards being more of a team, to do things for the group, for the team. I need to live like this. I need to be involved. So you move in with someone, we're together, we're married, we're together. Don't ever back off. As long as we're going together and doing things together, this works. But as soon as one person backs off, how can you back off? Where are you? We're a team. How could you leave me? How could, like, it gets dependent on the other person. That can be tremendously satisfying and rewarding. But if it starts being negative, one can really feel disassociative and isolated. So if you're taking took an extreme, like the shooter who shot up people in Las Vegas, what would drive someone to do that? Someone could be really independent and just hate restrictions, but most likely someone probably has a need to belong, but feeling the system went against them and screwed them, and they're not fitting in, and something was unfair, and they're in a negative judgment of social situations. But I'll take an independent action to prove something to them, however diluted it may be. But that's somebody who can't just let go and get on with themselves. So you can easily, maybe it's someone in Moon and Scorpio who's remembering all the difficult things and holding on to it. But it could be like you could go through each argument of trying to see which sign what moon sign would that person have to do something like this. But it's more than the sign, it's the houses, it's the aspects, it's the whole package before you can really decide. But you're seeing attitudes, you're not seeing circumstances with the signs, you're seeing attitudes and behaviors which you can make the best of or the worst of. And you can strive to change them, but changing attitudes is difficult. It takes a lot of effort. Especially when if we've lived 40 years, and we've gone through 120 moon cycles, our basic habit patterns are pretty established. I shouldn't have to go through these changes now. I'm going to be like this forever. So this will come along. But when you're looking at these seasons, you're looking at, in the summer, individuals, people are finding their belonging. Even though they're being independent, they're involving more and more people, which is increasing responsibilities. The fall and winter signs, they need to have a partner, need to have someone believe in them, they need to have that feedback, that interaction, or it's not worth doing. Why bother if nobody cares? But the Aries or Gemini would say, why care if nobody bothers? I'm going to do my own, do your own thing, do it yourself. So one can see one way and the other can't do it the other way. So when you have two opposite signs, all your instincts are going to be, one will be instinct towards freedom, one will say, oh, let's do it independent, let's break away and go out to a party tonight. The other will say, oh, no, let's stay home and have dinner. The instincts will be opposite, and the timing often gets opposite around that. So it's difficult to live with someone with the opposite moon. It's not impossible, many people do, but you're not going to want to eat at the same time, or you're going to have different attitudes to food or security, and there'll be a certain stress factor that may be normal to you in that relationship, but it may be really stressful to someone else who doesn't have that in the relationship. So we're looking at the theory, we're applying it to the planet that's there, and we're trying to make it experiential and look through those experiential ways to see how many things we can see. There's always more things. There's always things you left out. You always can look a little deeper on it. To really understand it thoroughly, you'll understand your moon sign more thoroughly than anything else across your lifetime. Then you see other people live differently. Oh my goodness. Or I couldn't possibly live differently than what everyone else does. Some people just have to bounce off other people. So the nighttime greater is more responsible. Daylight is greater is more independent. The nighttime increasing, the daylight increasing is moving towards more freedom. The nighttime increasing more belonging, more responsibility, and more need to be part of the team. So these are really primary factors up to the 4 seasons. And these are the primary factors that aren't usually written about in books, but don't let them go because they tell you too much about behavior. And once they pick up this attitude, then it'll show how it affects the affairs of the house it's in. And then you see how much stress comes at it from the planets, from the aspects. So there's layers. We're just looking at the first level here, but it's special. If you don't have someone's time of birth, you can't look at their houses, but you certainly can see the attitudes to each planet, because they don't change that fast.